A person often gets hurt the most from where they trusted the most. I have experienced this twice. Both times, it was from my brothers. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, and leave a comment. Your support is very important to us. Thank you in advance. Once upon a time, in the heart of West Africa's fertile lands, there lived a man from a long-established family. His name was Kwame. Everyone knew him for his honesty, kindness, and generosity. He was a respected farmer in his city. He cultivated vast lands, selling his produce and distributing it to those in need. His profits were abundant, but his heart was even richer. Kwame was not only a good farmer, but also a happy family man. His wife, Ama, had known him since childhood. Between them, there was not only love, but also a deep friendship. Ama was a woman with dark skin and long braided hair, possessing a calmness and wisdom in her gaze. She had a quiet strength. When she spoke, everyone listened. Together they had 3 children. Their eldest, Kwaku, was a 14-year-old boy who admired his father. He attended middle school, worked in the fields with his father during vacations, and patiently learned about nature. Their middle child, Abena, was 10 years old, a serious but affectionate child resembling her mother. The youngest, 5-year-old Yor, would sit on Kwame's lap every morning, listening to the stories his father would tell. Kwame's home was a haven, awakening to the chirping of birds in the morning and praying under the stars at night. They would eat together on their veranda every evening, sharing what the children had learned that day. Family meant everything to Kwame. His world was not just the land, it was the family that he lived with and raised on that land. Kwame was approaching 40, a man with dark skin, broad shoulders, and graying beard. His eyes had a warmth that smiled even in darkness. His hands bore the calluses of years of labor. His clothing was simple, mostly cotton tunics and sandals. But what made him valuable was neither his appearance nor his wealth. It was his heart that defined him. For Kwame, the land was not just a source of income. It was a responsibility to the community. He didn't just pay his workers. He covered their children's school expenses, bought medicine for the sick, and was the first to knock on the door of those in debt. After each harvest, he would gather his workers around a table, serving everyone equal portions of food, saying, "The sweat of a man is the greatest of all sacred things." At his farm, no one was oppressed. Everyone worked as brothers. And because of this, the elders in the village would mention his name in their prayers, and young people dreamed of being a boss like him. Kwame had 2 siblings, his sister Yejide and his younger brother Kojo. Their family had passed away in a car accident years ago. Since then, the 3 siblings had grown up supporting one another. Yejide had taken on the maternal role early on. Kojo, the youngest and most sensitive, had started to drift away as time went on, as dreams, ambitions, and social pressures pulled them in different directions. Kwame had taken care of the lands left by their parents. He had expanded his farm, treated his workers well, and earned the respect of everyone in the town. He would rise with the morning prayer call, greet the land, eat with his workers, and pray under the stars at night. But Yejide and Kojo had chosen a different path. Yejide had married a wealthy man in the city and had gotten lost in the flashy streets of modern life. Kojo, on the other hand, had hardened with disappointments as he jumped from job to job, dreamt of getting rich quickly. Though he didn't share it with anyone, Kojo had serious problems with the law in the city. Accused of fraud, he had been sentenced to prison, but managed to escape a few months later. Unable to go back to the city, he sought refuge in the countryside, the place he trusted the most. With Kwame, However, covering his past, he was planning to rebuild his life without telling his brother what had happened. Yejit was known for her beauty, drawing attention in any setting. With her light brown skin, always neatly styled hair, and designer clothes, she resembled a city woman. Her speech was soft, but manipulative. She had married a wealthy man, but soon became enamored with the allure of a lavish lifestyle, and began to squander her husband's earnings. Luxurious shopping sprees, expensive invitations, and a flashy lifestyle had tested her husband's patience. Family disputes, arguments, and constant expenses had ultimately strained their marriage. Eventually, her husband divorced her. Yejide left with only her car and a few suitcases of clothes. After this bankruptcy, she decided to turn to her brother. Kwame Kojo, on the other hand, was a slender, fast-talking, intelligent, but impatient man. He would adopt joking behaviors to hide the jealousy and feelings of inadequacy within him. Years later, Kwame's name was now known, not just in his town, but throughout the entire region. He was a pioneer in organic farming, sending his products to cities, even meeting with state officials. But all this success had not made him arrogant. He still ate at the same table with his workers, gave free seeds to his neighbors, and never turned away anyone who asked for a loan for school expenses. One day, Kojo came to Kwame's farm after many years. Despite wearing expensive clothes and carrying the latest model of a phone, fatigue and despair lay hidden behind his eyes. "Brother," he said while hugging him, "life has truly treated you well." Kwame smiled and welcomed his brother inside. He immediately had the best meal prepared, and the workers served Kojo. As Kojo sat down, a seriousness emerged on his face. "Brother, things haven't gone well in the city. I made some investments but got scammed. I lost everything. I need support to start over." Kwame immediately took out some money from his pocket. "This is for starters, but if you need more, you can work here. There's a place for you by my side." There was gratitude in Kojo's eyes, but another plan was brewing inside him. The thought of possessing his brother's wealth gnawed at him. At Thoryu, that moment, Yejide, tired of her life in the city, also decided to visit the farm. When she arrived in her luxury car, the workers looked at her in admiration. Kwame, who hadn't seen his sister for a long time, greeted her with the same warmth. That evening, while the three siblings were having dinner on the veranda, a silence reigned between them, as if even the wind was listening. Yejide glanced at Kojo, and then put her wine glass on the table and spoke. "Kwame, it's not easy to manage such a large estate alone anymore. Don't you think it's time? Let's run the management together. I have connections in the city, and Kojo has trade experience." Kwame lowered his head thoughtfully. "This land was entrusted to us by our father. I see no harm in sharing. But this place exists not to make money, but to serve people. If you remain true to this, I will do all that I can." Yejide and Kojo nodded their heads simultaneously, but they had other calculations in mind. In the first few weeks, everything was going as it should. Kojo would rise with the workers every morning, wander the fields with Kwame, and deal with marketing matters. Meanwhile, Yejide was conducting small training sessions for the village women, taking responsibility for selling some products through her connections in the city. Kwame began to feel hopeful inside. Maybe they had really come together as a family again. But over time, some things began to change. Kwame noticed missing loads when he checked the farm records in the mornings. There were inconsistencies in the expense reports. Some workers were receiving their wages late, while others were quietly leaving their jobs. One night, Baba Dede, the old and loyal farm watchman, came to Kwame and spoke quietly. "Sir, Kojo is taking goods from the store at night. I saw him secretly meeting someone from the city last night." Kwame, with a heavy heart, questioned Kojo. Kojo first denied it. Then he became defensive. "This business needs to grow, brother. With your old ways, this farm can't develop. I'm trying to open it up to the modern market. It's for your benefit." Kwame took a deep breath. "Goodness doesn't come from secretive acts, Kojo. And it certainly doesn't come from actions that could destroy our family." From that day forward, things got messier. Kojo secretly took out loans in the name of the farm. He forged Kwame's signature. Meanwhile, Yejide was holding meetings with the wealthy elite in the city, making proposals to turn portions of the farm's land into a luxury resort. One morning, Kwame received a letter from the land registry office and learned the truth. Some parts of his land had been mortgaged. Holding the documents in shock, his heart shattered. This was not the betrayal of one brother. It was the betrayal of both. That day, the three siblings met once again on the veranda. But this time, there was not bread on the table, but a heavy silence. "I opened my home to you," Kwame said in a strained voice. "But you tried to extinguish this fire." Yejide looked away. Kojo was angry. "You've always looked down on us, brother. We just wanted to chart our own path." Kwame stood up. His eyes were moist. "But that path went over my heart. The following week, bank seizure officers arrived at the farm. The townsfolk learned of what was happening. Everyone was shocked. For the first time in years, Kwame's name began to be mentioned with ridicule. One should not trust everyone, they said. Yet Kwame tried to stand firm beside his family. His wife Amma came to him on the day of the seizure and held his hand. "I believe you are right," she said quietly. The children, frightened, huddled together, trying to understand what was happening. Kwaku came to his father and locked eyes with him. "Dad, if you want, I can work too. We can rebuild everything." Kwame couldn't hold back his tears. "My child, as long as you are with me, nothing will truly fall apart. We are the children of this land, and the land does not abandon those who know their home." At that moment, the first seed of hope within Kwame began to sprout again. Kwame moved to a small cabin with the support of his former workers. He had nothing left, but a few workers were still looking at him with faith. One of them was a young, strong man. "Kwame, we will rebuild with you. The land is with us. The effort is with us. The faith is with us." And they started anew. A deserted piece of land was cleared. Hands became calloused, foreheads sweated. But Kwame's heart was pure. Months later, Kojo's past caught up with him. When it became known that he had escaped from prison, he was arrested by the police. Kojo was brought to trial and ultimately sentenced to a long prison term. When he was sent to prison, remorse was evident in his eyes, but it was too late. Yejide, however, was completely alone. Her partnerships in the city had collapsed, and she was forced to sell her car to pay off debts. She was staying in hotels and became more desperate. With each passing day, her beauty had faded, and the glitter of a lavish lifestyle had vanished from her eyes. People no longer greeted her. Her friends turned away from her paths. One morning, with a tattered bag and weary steps, she knocked on the door of Kwame's cabin. Her eyes were tearful, and her voice trembled. "Brother, will you accept me home again?" One morning, while Kwame was in the fields, a shadow approached from afar. It was Yejide. Her face was pale and her eyes were swollen. In her hand, she held a worn bag. Her feet were bare. She approached tearfully. Her voice trembled. "Brother, forgive us. We are hungry. We are alone. We were wrong." Kwame squinted his eyes. He looked at them carefully for a long time. Then he picked up the hoe he had placed on the ground and slowly extended it toward them. The land forgives, so do I. But trust wants to be reborn. Come, let's learn to be brothers again together. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, and leave a comment. What are your thoughts? Let's meet in the comments about family.